So this is round number 2 for Bridges and Boardwalk. My last attempt on this race. I dropped my chain almost the full way up the climb on the second lap. And so this is actually what it looked like. I was doing good, staying pretty well with the group on the climb, and all of a sudden I started hearing more crunching than normal. I tried shifting down into my smaller ring to get a better cadence while climbing, and the chain just did not line up correctly. So I tried pushing it back to the big ring, and it ended up just coming off completely. So I had to once again try and manage to get my chain back on. And then fast forward to the end of the race here. Basically spent the entire race by myself. And so I wanted to give a quick dig just to see kind of where I'm at. I managed to hold on to 9th place overall. But that main group really just, I could not catch up. I couldn't, I couldn't keep up with them, especially after dropping my chain. I just couldn't close that distance, and they ended up finishing I think the leader finished a minute plus ahead of me. And so the next competitor was about 10 seconds ahead of me. And that is just how Zwift racing goes sometimes. Now back to me in the future. Wanted to redeem myself to see if I can actually compete in this category. This is the 390 to 510. I'm sat kind of in the middle of this category at 443 racing score. But I feel like my score has jumped up a lot quicker than my abilities, because as I heard it today explained by Titanium Ben on the Zwifty Chat channel. If you haven't caught the Zwifty Chat before, feel free to check them out. I will link the channel. And so worth a watch. And what Titanium Ben was talking about is it seems like the smaller the group, the higher likelihood your score is going to jump. And so the last few races I've done, the groups have been sub 20 riders, racers. And so I'm now at 443, even though I don't feel like I'm at that level physically. So still chasing that elusive 4.2 watts per kilogram 5 minute. So I can get into the pace group B category. And that's, I think that's going to be a long time goal for this year. Ideally, I want to get to that before summer, so I can kind of stay on track mentally with my goal for the year. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So this race, if more people don't join, then I feel like this is going to be one of those awkward races where we either stay together or we don't, and kind of what happens, or people end up dropping off. I don't know if that's an indication that Ecro is as popular or more popular, or maybe people are just going outside and racing more, riding more, since it's the summer months in the Northern Hemisphere. And so I don't know what to think of it. All I know is last year, I don't remember it being like this. Then again, this time last year, I was just starting to race, where obviously I've got a lot of experience now, having done a lot of races since last year, but we'll see. We'll see how today goes with a minute and a half left. Again, Boardwalks and Bridges for the ZRacing series in Makuri May. And we're doing three rounds up the Shisha climb, which I'm not a fan of that climb. It's not a hard climb, but it's just like, it's not, I don't know why I don't like it, but I just don't like it. I guess it's that middle threshold where it's like, it's just challenging enough to put sting in the legs, but at the same time, not challenging enough to where you have to like focus on climbing. And so I don't know if that explains it correctly, but I do like the longer climbs over some of these shorter, like 2-minute climbs type of efforts. Although shorter climbs I am better at, so like 1-minute climbs I'm better at. So yeah, there you go. Well, 30 seconds left, and right now 10 people in the pen according to Zwift. Looks like another person joined. We'll see. Sauce is only showing 5 people right now, or 7 people. So we'll see. We'll see how we end up with 15 seconds to go, what the final tally is going to be. I see a jersey that I recognize. Hey, Darren from Dirt's in here. So he is likely going to, Darren's going to do what Darren's going to do. He's going to, almost missed the start. I think Darren's going to, make the climbs harder. And so that's going to make for some fun. Oh, looks like no matter what happens, I'll be in top 10 by default. It looks like Mr. GC39 wants to do some racing. Kind of stupid to do this tonight, considering what I'm planning tomorrow.
And so this race really started off like any other Zwift race, someone off the front already and pushing. And so, I was not planning on doing any work to catch that person. I knew that as soon as we get to the climb, depending on their performance, they're either going to leave us behind. You see, they got about a 4-second gap right now, 5 seconds. And so they're either going to leave us behind or, we as a group are going to end up catching. So I, did my best to kind of stay towards the front of this group. You see myself and Darren kind of interplay where we kind of, bouncing back and forth. He'll punch up and then I'll kind of ease off in the back. And then same thing as we get to this hill. But as we, get to this steep ramp, I just start, kind of planning my effort. I want to stay with this group. So I'm doing my best to modulate my efforts so that way I'm not going too hard off the front, but and then also not falling behind. Which lately it's been a little bit hard for me to figure out what gears I need to be in order to do that. And so this was just yet another opportunity to practice that pacing strategy. And so again, you see back off the power as we hit this flat section, which I gotta say, this is probably the hardest part of this whole climb because it's just it's not a total flat section. It's just steep enough to where it can slow you down if you're not watching it. So as we start to make our way up this climb, again, I'm just trying to keep a good pace. I start to see some guys launch their feathers, and so I figure I'd just keep going with the pace I'm going. We're starting to catch up to the rider up front, Mr. GC39, and so I just really just stay on the pace that I was at. I stayed on the gear that I was at and just kind of kept climbing, and so I ended up catching him. And you see the group come up behind me, and I figured, hey, we'll all stay together. When we get to the top, no big deal. I just, again, I'm going into the 400s, but really just as a, way to kind of push over that steep section. And then we get to the flat part. And at this point, I've got, a little bit over a second. Still one guy behind me, but a little bit over a second. I launched my arrow, and because I got a second gap on some of these guys, I was like, you know what, let me keep pushing. Let me push into the threes, upper threes. So one of the things I'm working on is basically whenever I'm climbing and or sprinting, I want to maintain my pace by not dropping down into the, below 3.0 watts per kilogram. So I want to stay in the mid threes in order to get better at my 5 and 20 minute power. And so that's kind of what I did there. And little by little, I saw the gap grow. And because I saw the gap grow, I just kept going. And so I was like, at any moment, they're going to realize that I'm a threat because I'm getting so far out there. I'm 8 seconds right now away from the group, 10 seconds, and climbing. And so I end up, I think the most I get away from them is about 13 seconds. But every time I see them claw back a few seconds here and there, I give a good dig in order to keep the pressure on. And then again, work really hard on this climb in order to kind of stay away. I figured I could increase my gap on this second climb, but it didn't really happen. I just kind of kept it where it was at. And so as I started making my way back down the climb here, I did my best to again maintain a good 3 watts to 3.5 watts per kilogram. Obviously, going downhill, I was doing my best to rest. But when I wasn't on the descent, I was trying to maintain that, 3.5 watts per kilogram in order to, kind of work on my 20-minute power, and really push my endurance a lot better. And so as we start this final lap, I figured at any moment they're going to start to put the pressure and catch me. So I go up this climb, and at this point, I am hurting. I am feeling it. This third time around, I'm by myself in the wind. I'm pushing as hard as I can. You see my average watts are above, 270, basically nearing my FTP. And so I give a good dig just to really keep it going. But they're starting to, at that point, they were looking like they were going to reel me back in. But as soon as I get to the top, I was able to get some distance again and extend my lead and just keep rolling through. And because I kept rolling through, I figured that on the downhill, they're going to push hard. But when I saw that I had 12 seconds and a kilometer left to go, I knew at this moment they weren't going to catch me. They were going to have to work really hard to close that gap, put some serious orange numbers down in order to close that gap as quick as possible in order to basically catch up to me for that final sprint. And so I eased off the power just enough to kind of see whether or not they were doing the work to close that distance, but it just didn't happen. And that's, I was flabbergasted that it did not happen. And so as I get into the last 500 meters here, I figured, you know what, let me launch a little bit of a sprint. I got 14 seconds on the group. I don't need to, go all out, but at the same time, I want to show that I've still got a little fight left in me for anyone who wanted it. But again, no one was making the effort to bridge that 14-second gap. So I get into my biggest gears, push a, near 800 watt burst, but that was really what I had left. Just kind of held that for a little bit, and the last 100-ish meters coasted to the finish into what I could not believe was a Pogacar style victory. There you go. Victory salute. So I can
Holy
end
shit.
this on a fantastic finish.
Wow. Didn't quite make my goal, but great job, Darren. Woo-hoo. Man. Woohoo. Almost hit a new PR on my 20-minute power. So close, man. All right. Oh my God, my legs. Holy hell. Oh my God, my legs. Yo, I was out front. Oh my God. Bro, what a race. And that's not a me thing. This group did not want to work because Darren could have easily beat me. he's a strong climber and could have really made me hurt on the climbs. And so, again, this is end of a long week for probably everybody. I just happen to have the better legs today. And then I'm gonna do this all over again tomorrow, but in a different style, in a different fashion. Getting back to one of my other races that I love. And so I will post that when it comes up. So I'm gonna get out of here for now, and I will catch you guys on the next race. It's gonna be a good one. Definitely gonna be a good one. Whew. Wow, that hurt.
Hey guys, it's Miguel from That Thing You Just Watched. Hope you enjoyed that video, whether it was topic on nutrition or racing or a combination of both. Feel free to come back. I will continue to put out videos like this and continue to showcase what you can do with smart nutritional strategies, combining that with racing, because that is what this channel is all about. And feel free to check in if you want to see more racing. Click on wherever the link's at, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next race.